We'll call this meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting April 11th, special board meeting April 26th, and special board meeting May 5th. Everybody's had a chance to review the minutes. Anybody have any corrections they'd like to make?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes from those three meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Next item of business is the general fund vouchers, 79,442 through 79,511, and wire transfers 2022-0491 through 2022-0545.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Next item of business is public comments. Anybody got any comments they'd like to make? All right, seeing there is none, we'll move on to the first item of new business, the reorganization of the school board. Does anybody want to make some changes? I think Nettie does most of the work. You want to still be the treasurer, Nettie? You want to see if someone else wants it?
Anybody want it? As I'm sitting here sighing.
Yeah.
Does anybody not want the position that they're in right now, or does anybody want to change or recommend a change that we make?
I do not.
All right, so let's
You
keep
do
our-
not want your position?
Was
Well, not really, but no, I don't want to change anything.
was Ryan a member? Was that what he was last?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
be a member.
so if everybody is in agreement, we'll keep our office titles the same then. And
In motion for that or anything? Why not?
I don't know, Josh, do we need a motion for
I
that?
don't think so.
All right, so we'll keep all of our assignments the same. Next item of business then is the approval of the hires.
Resignation.
Oh, sorry, resignations. I'm glad you guys are
It's a
helping me
longer
here.
list.
All the letters in there, but if you maybe just read the names for the sake of time.
Yep, I think we'll have to do that. All right, we got Jessica Millar.
Oh, here's if you want the list.
Do you have the list? All right. Abby Witter, Jess Millar, Jesse Knutson, Julie Cole, Karen Howell, Billy Joe Johnson, Susan Anderson, and Steve Rubel from the assistant varsity football coach spot. All right. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the resignations.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the resignations. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next item of business is the hires then.
So just the one.
We got Emily Branstad for the elementary teaching position. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the new hire.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve our new hire. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, next item of business is the approval of our 22-23 district administrator hire, which I imagine we're going to wait until after we go through closed sessions. So we'll move on to the next item of business, review of the 21-22 membership audit.
Yeah, I'll keep it real quick. We had the membership audit. In your notes, I shared with you that 25% of all schools have to go through that. This was the smoothest one I've ever been a part of, so I think third time's a charm here. We went through it, so huge thank you to everyone that was involved. It was a lot of staff that were involved in that. So I put that in your board documents as well. The kind of two main things from that audit that we had to review or change. We had to adjust the mileage, the original mileage of all of our students in our district. It was used, MapQuest was used. So we had to adjust Billy Joe Johnson and Mona Oval over in the elementary. Had to switch all of those to get the more accurate mileage. And then if there's a family like where you have multiple kids and the kids are in both buildings, you had to have it like itemized out and have each kid, even though it's only a quarter mile or a half a mile apart, you had to have each one getting the accurate mileage. So they went through and did all that, which was a huge undertaking. So then we had those are the two That was the first thing, and then the second thing is we have to have a spot check random attendance for our transportation for our bus drivers, 2 to 4 times a year, just to make sure that all of the kids are have ridden the bus at least once, the ones that we have listed at least once before and after each of pupil count dates. So we fixed both those and we're good to go. So it was definitely a much more, it was a smooth membership audit compared to years past.
All right, nice. Next item of business then is approval of the 22-23 health and dental insurance renewal.
Okay, so great news for that. The health insurance, we were up for a bid year, so we didn't bid it out. What we did is we just had Sean Fitzgerald over at SNF Insurance looked at one of the healthcare providers, and we bid that one. That one came in at 9% lower than what our Medica one is. So rather than changing the whole thing, we asked Medica to see if they would match the 9% decrease, and they gave us an 8% decrease, which has never happened before. Usually, you said a 10% increase is a good renewal. So for us, is an 8% decrease is going to save, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. So he thought about $60,000 was kind of his ballpark. And then the dental, Lincoln Dental came in at 0% increase. So we wanted to make sure that there was not a huge transition for the next superintendent in my departure. And to change a whole healthcare provider would be a big undertaking, a lot of work to get that all switched over. So left as is, and it ended up working out really nicely for everyone. So it's a 8% decrease. Now, I did put in the numbers for you guys in your packet, so you can kind of see. So right after Steve Rubel's resignation of his coaching position, you see the SF page that has kind of a breakdown of what we're looking at. And then the second page is, and this is currently going to help me out on this one. So we had to get life and long-term disability because the company that provided that no longer exists.
Well, they exist, but they're no longer.
They're no longer providing that.
Insurance and LTD, so we had to shop that out.
So we shot that out, and principal, the one on the right-hand column, is the closest and very minimal changes to that as well. So that the principal is the one that is the closestly aligned to what we currently have.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the 22-23 health and dental insurance renewals.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the health and dental insurance renewals. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next item of business is the approval of the 22-23 support staff contracts.
So my proposal for that one is a 2.5% increase to our support staff contracts for the 22-23 school year. What's that?
2.5, you said?
2.5% increase, yep, to our support staff. So typically we do a 2% increase. Cost of living is going up. Plus, with the referendum passing, I feel like this is a good way to show that that was a district, referendum, and we communicated all the way through that the intent of the referendum is salaries of teaching staff. But I mean, the board will always be revisiting support staff areas and making sure that it's competitive. That's something that will happen in every district, everywhere. So,
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the 22-23 support staff contracts.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the 22-23 support staff contracts. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. All right, the approval of the 22-23 teacher contracts.
the teacher contracts. Some of this is going to be an open session, and then some of it will be closed, and then we'll have to come back and open and maybe let it go. So sorry about the tiny print, but got everybody's name on there. So the original plan with the salary structure of the teaching staff was to get everyone aligned to their seniority, kind of a two-year tiered plan. We were able to do it, almost able to do it in 1 year. So if you look at the column with the bright yellow under the dollar amount increase, those 4 individuals that are highlighted are the only 4 that I wasn't able to get in to match their years of seniority in the district. So what I did is the third document that has the teacher compensation model. We put together a committee, created the compensation model. I do have to admit, I don't know if it was a good idea to give the letters. The committee created this when we didn't have a referendum pass. Our intent was to, we didn't know if the referendum was going to pass or not. So I had said, let's use letters so people don't, equate the letters with years of service. That just didn't work. It just caused more questions for people. But long story short, the referendum did pass, so I didn't change the document because it was board approved, but I wrote, the numbers by each letter of the alphabet there to reflect what year of seniority they have, and then got everyone plugged into their into the compensation model accordingly. So I have a couple things that I'll be sharing with you guys in closed session as far as kind of how this next steps with this. But what will happen now is the committee will have to decide, and you guys as a board will have to decide, the next steps are, when we started the committee, we talked about, if the referendum did pass, which it did, what I had communicated to the committee is, you guys will have to make a decision. Do you start from scratch and scrap all this and start, get this board approved so everyone's in there, and then start from scratch? Do you leave this as is and make some adjustments to it? Or do you just leave this as and do nothing? My recommendation would be to leave this as is and make adjustments. The easiest way to make adjustments to this would be to start with the base wage, increase that level 1. That will in turn impact everything else below it, and then you'll have to add a few cells at the bottom to make sure that it's, it addresses everybody where they're at. Because right now you have 4 people that are maxed out on that top tier that can't go anywhere. When they're maxed out, they get $1,000. That's non-base building to their salary, but it's not base building, so their salary doesn't increase each year. They just get that $1,000 bump. So by addressing the base wage and make sure you're competitive, and that's something that we'll have regardless of your plan. That's something that districts have to revisit, however many years that they feel is appropriate when they're not competitive with the surrounding districts. So that would be the starting point, is to look at that, look at the surrounding districts, and that will automatically shift, all of those numbers up, and then you'll have to adjust the bottom. That'd be the easiest and smoothest way to get this model adjusted. When we went into this, the committee with the teacher compensation committee, I said, anybody can create a compensation model. That's not the problem. I think everyone would agree that the model is a good model. It's where people get transitioned in. It's the compensation models across the state are you have incentive-based ones, you have merit-based ones, you have standard column, step and lane like this. The issue is getting people transitioned in. Without the referendum, we wouldn't have been able to transition anyone. We would have been able to do one more year with a big jump, but this with the referendum has allowed us to get almost everybody aligned to where they're at. One thing to consider though too is we have a population now, that were hired to post, after 2011. The ones that stayed in the district, that worked in other districts, and there's not many of them, but if they worked in another district for 2 or 3 years, something to consider is how does the board reward those individuals for staying in the district? Do you bump those individuals up an extra lane or 2 to reflect those total years of service? Because we've had individuals that have come into the district with years of service outside of this district, and they've been put into the model, depending on where they came in or what position they were in. They were accommodated before those years of service. So that's just something to consider. Any questions on this? The rest we can talk about in closed session. I do have then I have a draft of the second document is just a letter that each employee will get. This is just paragraph that I wrote is just a rough draft, and then it says good afternoon, morning. Anything in red I do is, it reminds me that I have to delete one of them. So depending if I send it in the morning or afternoon. Just explains it, and then it says their name, their date of hire, their seniority, their salary for next year, the amount of increase, what their current salary is, and then does the same thing for next year. So it gives them exact. So this individual that you're looking at, about 18% increase over the last 2 years. So there's you'll look through that. There's some substantial increases that I think will be well received. So I was happy that we were able to do this. Obviously happy with the referendum, and did want to thank the teacher compensation model. The committee wanted to thank everyone that was involved. I mean, it took some trust and to talk through all of that. And you go through something like this, you're not going to make everybody happy. That's just, I think, just unfortunately the way it is. But I do think the majority of individuals will be happy with these increases that we were able to do.
Well, so on the behalf of the board, though, we'd like to thank the committee for getting together. We want to thank you, Josh, for taking this under your wing and getting it done. I know there's a lot of meetings involved with this and a lot of thought that went into it, and a lot of nerves that were probably felt going through this whole thing, and here it is before us. Do we want to, so thank you for that.
I also want to say thank you to Nick Crawford. He let me use some of his information. I just said, can I use it and share it with the board, the type of letter that I was planning on sending out. So
yeah. So thank you, Nick. Also, do we want to then approve the teacher contracts after our closed session,
yep.
Josh?
Yeah, so this will just get tabled till closed session, and we'll come back and open, and you guys can vote on it.
All right, sounds real good. Well, then, that being said, we'll move on to the 22-23 administrative staff contracts, which, or do we want to do that in closed session? Or do we need to do anything there?
Yep, so that one's just a 2.5% increase for the administrative staff contracts. Typically, as you recall, the teacher contracts and all three are typically done in October when the real numbers come in. Now there's not a need to do that anymore. Everybody knows where they're at, so there's going to be no more retro pay. People will be adjusted. If you guys choose to do that, they'll be adjusted effective immediately for the fall.
Okay. Let's table that one along with the rest of them then.
That one really doesn't need to be tabled.
Is it effective immediately, or is it
this one will
effective
be
July
really
1st?
just.
Are the contracts the same? Is this the second year of their contracts, or are they the same? I guess the only one we're talking about would be,
Yeah.
so is
It's
he
the
got a new
second
contract? Is it the same
You guys
contract?
can why don't you table it and you guys can talk through
Okay.
that.
All right, that sounds good. So,
Sweat a little bit, Greg.
what's that?
Table would make me sweat a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so that being said, let's move on to the next item of business, the approval of a Bobcat mower and angle broom purchase.
Okay. So those are in here, the bids are in here. If you want any details on that one, we're gonna have to table and ask Tom to come in. But there are two additional pieces of, one's a broom for the Bobcat, and then one's a mower that'll be used to mow all the fields, so.
Is there a certain area they're going to be used for? specifically, or-
Yeah, the mower will be used to do like all of the large fields, baseball area,
Assuming the broom is sidewalks.
yeah.
We've already got the Bobcat machine, right?
Yeah, so these are just two pieces pieces of equipment that attach to it.
And you're looking for approval, Josh, right?
Yep.
I will entertain a
I
motion.
move to approve the Bobcat mower and angle broom purchase.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the Bobcat mower and angle broom purchase. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next item of business is the review of the Library and Media Advisory Committee.
So that was tabled from last time. We were talking through specifically SORA, what you guys wanted to do with that. So if you recall, SORA is the program that is used to access the books virtually or online. There was no, to my knowledge, there's no way to limit or restrict individuals from checking out certain books. So the conversation last month was, do you guys create something, or do we create something that is like an approval form for students to go in there, just to make parents aware that some of that stuff is in there that's that either the committee is not allowed, or that parents feel is inappropriate, or do we shut that down altogether and continue looking for something else to replace it? So the problem is with you can restrict levels, with the high school level and the elementary, but you can't go in there and specifically pick books that you don't want kids to have access to, that the district may feel is inappropriate.
So Sora, that's the only way to restrict them with Sora,
By ages.
by ages.
Yeah, by like a tiered kind of age group.
Well, if there's stuff on there that's inappropriate, I don't think that we should give the kids access to it. Now, permission slips, I guess we haven't really talked about that or not. I don't know, any thoughts?
I'd say permission slips at the very least. I mean, I know my kid, and he didn't do very well with it.
I say we have to offer something though.
Yeah, you
online-wise.
can't not have an online resource. And I almost think like the permission slip, if you can turn it on and shut it off by student, is no different than me going and getting my kid a library card. So then it's me saying, I'm okay with you doing this.
And administratively, what would the permission slip kind of thing? Would that be a lot of work, Josh? Not a lot of work for?
To create a
Well, just to keep track of
Put with the
that.
technology.
Oh, no, I don't-
Online every fall.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be
A big
too
deal.
big of a deal. I don't know, and obviously Marcy's here, she could speak to that, so I'm not sure from a library.
Marcy, aren't there other places that we can get material from? Is there another Sora out there?
There's Sora out there, but you'd have to purchase each item individually, and it's not like you purchase it one time and you have it forever. Some of them have so many checkouts, some of them have like 2 years you get to have it for, and then it returns. Sora is a low-cost way for small schools like us to have a service like that. They have over $2 million worth of content on there, 65,000 items for our students. So we could purchase Sora individually on our own, but we won't be able to keep up with the demand that our students want, so.
Can you lock it by student, or it's not?
Yes, you
that?
can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a parent really had an issue, they could
Yeah.
sign up and say, you know what, I don't want my kid to have access to that.
And a parent can even say, I only want my child to see juvenile titles, or they could say, I want my kid to see everything. So they're working on more parent permissions.
I think that's the big thing is, we have a lot of control over like the apps and stuff that kids have on their phones, kind of looking for that same type of parental restriction.
So, do we have any requirements that they would have to use that they would need to use Sora in class? Or in,
No.
I'm
Nope.
just curious.
It's an optional, no teachers assign anything through there.
So if a parent were to say, no, I don't want my kid on there, that kid's not gonna have
Nope.
a hard time in class or anything?
No, I mean, it will, like our fourth graders just read a book and they were able to find the audiobook on Sora, so they were able to follow along in their book and listen to it at the same time, so that's something that we wouldn't be able to do without it, so it's not that they have to have it, it's just like the library, they don't have to check out for the library, it's their option, it's an optional read, so.
Does it restrict them with like research papers and different things that they have to do for assignments?
We have other databases for
Okay.
that, for nonfiction books and stuff. This is more free reading for them.
Okay.
Public library, yeah. I say we do the form so we keep the ability to use it.
And there's a paper trail for each book that's checked out from like a certain student, or not necessarily?
Yep, I can go in and see what student is
Yeah.
checking out which items.
So a parent could call you and say, can you tell me what
Yep.
books my kid has checked out?
Yep.
Can-
And it
can
works
we
on
note that?
phones and computers, so any child can log in at home too, with their Google username and password, so.
What do you think, Josh? What are your thoughts?
I think you guys should at least look at what kids are accessing in there before you guys make a decision, maybe.
Right.
I won't be here next year, and my kids won't be in the district, but.
Yeah, and I know, like, my kids, I know what they're doing, but I know all parents aren't like that, so I don't.
Right.
I don't know what my kids are doing. I had too many of them.
Ask your wife.
And yeah.
You know, I've told teachers and that I don't want my kids on YouTube, and they still do. You know,
Yeah.
in class, they find ways to do it, and that's, you know, they're, I don't know.
I haven't had the opportunity to dig around a lot, I've just been too busy, so I hate to table it again, but if we haven't had the chance to look at it, I mean, I think we need to keep something. I think we need to keep
Yeah.
something that they can log into.
How long
What
does
are,
it-
what are the other ones that we have?
The other ones, we have Tumble Books and Bookflix. Those are for younger.
Bookflix, that's one I remember, I used that a lot when they were.
Yeah, those are younger grades, so they're all pre-selected as well. We can take off any of those items. For the older grades at school, we can use Epic, getepic.com, but at home you have to pay for it as a parent, so that's not very
That's right.
user-friendly for the parent side. Sora, we pay $1.55 a student for the entire year. They can use it at home or at school. At the high school, we use a non-book e-service for nonfiction ebooks, so they can access nonfiction books that way. But the other option for this kind of reading for our age, for K-12, would be to go out on our own and purchase Sora, which would be a lot more expensive, a lot more management on my side. There is a board of directors that controls the Sora selections. They go through a process. It's volunteer librarians going through and looking at all the items. So it's not a company throwing them on there. It's actually people that you can call and talk to. And it's just the State of Wisconsin Consortium. They started it for that reason, so.
So if we're paying by student, is it by school year? Like, is there an end to this current contract? And then
Yeah,
there's
they
a
go
point
through
where
our
you-
census and they tell me the number. And all of our staff get it as well. So quite a few of our staff use it in their personal time as well.
So if we were gonna table this, does that impede your needing to renew a subscription?
That will renew in September.
Okay, so we could table it.
So the number of books that were checked out in Sora, is the number about 250 events?
It's about 800, I think, from the last time I checked. We pay about $800, so it's $1 a book, roughly.
Right.
For right now. And I've talked to some kids are like, we never use it, and that's their choice. I show them how to use it. Myself, the other day, a book I need for class was checked out, and I'm like, Karen, I don't know what to do. She goes, you have Sora, Marcia. Totally forgot. So you just go on, check it out, and it's huge, so everybody can see it. So it's a really good teaching tool for the teachers. They don't have to run to the public library and grab something if I don't have it. So, and I can log in with my public library card as well, and it searches both online areas.
So we've got the Library Advisory Committee that's supposed to be looking at stuff and advising the purchases. Is this something we could throw towards them and ask them to do some digging and see what the content is and bring it to us? Maybe a little bit too much to ask, but I mean...
To look at the books in there?
No.
Yeah, or just...
Well, Sora, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sora in general, I think.
All
is what
those
you're saying.
books over in that corner are in there, is what he's saying.
All the books in the corner are on Sora?
Yeah, there are definitely a handful of books that the committee would.
Oh, well then, I don't know about Sora then. Can we table it another month and see if we can find another resource?
It's going to be the same resource.
Sora's the only low-budget book checking out
Yes.
thing in the country?
And I waited years to join it until they had a nice collection and they had the audiobooks, which our teachers were asking for. So, and it is by level, so your middle school, junior high, elementary students will not be accessing young adult or adult content. So, I trust my kids to be on it. I do talk with them about what they're saying. I have talked to other librarians, and some use parent permission slips. So if you're not comfortable using it, you can simply shut it off for your child. And it won't impact their education at all.
Well, so like so many other things that blur past a parent's life when we're trying to negotiate this world, unless there's a huge disclaimer with explanation points that say, there's books on here that describe oral sex, will there be a disclaimer like that on this form when we get to choose that for our children?
I feel that everyone's version of inappropriate is different. Oral sex should not be in the elementary or junior high option. And to remember, when you're looking at a book, look at the whole book from beginning to end. I feel that it's inappropriate to use the word inappropriate because we all have different versions of inappropriate.
All right, well, what do you guys think?
I just think we table it. I'm like Nettie with the amount of recruiting we have to do.
I think at the very least we get a permission slip started.
I say we junk it and find another resource. What do you say, Skip?
I think the parents have to have some say in it, is what I think. If you don't want your kid in it, you can sign something and they won't be in it, I guess.
As long as the disclaimer's loud enough, perhaps.
I think the resources, the potentiality of a good resource is good. I think we could look at just doing it for teachers or for teachers and students. I've taken some of the books home and I haven't read them yet. That's why I would like a little bit more table time so I can get some time just to look through them.
Or is it something where, all right, Bob checks out a book, can Bob's dad or mom get an email every time that happens, or isn't it that simple?
I don't think it's that simple. I have to go in multiple steps just to see who's checking out.
I'm just shocked that they can't do that with the technology we have these days.
I mean, they're working on more and more stuff because
Right.
more and more school boards are dropping them.
Okay.
Right, because we're at 50%, a little bit less than 50% of the school boards that have it, or schools that have it.
We have 16 out of, I think it was 39 CISAs in our CISA have it.
Right, so we're a little less than half.
And not all of them have signed up for it because they might have something different.
Yeah.
All right, let's table it then. All right, next item of business is the approval of board policy 6325, procurement, federal grants, and funds.
I put that in there for you guys. We tabled it from last time, but Ms.
You're good at
Carnick,
tabling stuff tonight,
Yeah.
Josh.
Ms. Carnick went in there, made some notes to the policy as far as the adjustments that we would make. So it's the same policy, but just with some scribbling on it as far as what we would take and not take.
It is a 6-page.
Didn't we go through some of this?
Yeah, you guys looked at this last
Yeah.
time, and so just anything where there's writing on is what has been changed. So any handwritten scribbles or marks. So on the first page, the underline and then crossed out stuff.
So this is federal purchases, Josh, right?
Yep.
With federal dollars, so there's not a lot that we can or need to change because everything's governed already, right?
No, they give you the two choices, anything with parentheses, and then the X is the section that we're recommending that we take.
Oh, okay.
So we're just basically saying adequate numbers, we're not giving a specific number, because on like page 4, 6.
Page 4.
Right,
Right, because it's just hard to know what we're gonna, to say 3 bids and we might get 2.
right.
Oh, yep.
You,
And like on page 3,
You got a dollar amount you can figure out.
we need to put a dollar amount in there. Most people are either putting 20,000 or 25,000, what I could find. So you guys need to decide which one.
For the micro purchases?
For the
Sealed
sealed
bids.
bids.
Sealed
on
bids.
Right here at the
page
bottom, there's a
3.
question mark by it.
The majority seem to go 25,000.
Should that be a percentage rather than a dollar amount, Lori?
It's not what they have in there, because, I think it's because it's federal dollars, they want to have as much specific,
Yeah, you need to know what dollar amount in
Yeah.
order to have a sealed bid process.
yeah.
Well, what if the bid is lower than $25,000?
Well, then I think it goes to like a micro,
Oh,
It's a different process.
yeah. And like on page 2, where I have annually or periodically, you guys need to decide what you want that to be. I would suggest periodically because I don't have a list of people now. So I don't think I need to ask people to be on the list all the time.
all right, so periodically then, everybody's okay with that?
Yeah.
Can I say 25?
25 for the dollar amount?
And keep it not specific on page 4-6, just say adequate.
And then all the other corrections, I think look good to me, Lori. All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I move to approve board policy 6325.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve board policy 6325. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Next item of business, superintendent notes, Dr. Joshua R. Ernst.
And before we do the notes, back to the review of library material, did you guys want did you want me to get anything prepared for the next meeting, or?
Well, at the end of this meeting, I want to take a look at what we got over here.
Okay.
So I don't know,
I have a stack of them at home, just so you know.
do you too?
And so it's very different than what we have on hand, so I would even recommend that you take a look at it and kind of decide for yourself if you feel inappropriate is a poor choice of words or not on my end, and take a look through the SORA yourself, so, okay. Just want to make sure I wasn't missing something that needed to be done.
Well, I mean, if there's any other options, I mean, I don't know.
Doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it, but, you know.
Yeah,
Sounds
doesn't
good.
matter to me. We're the ones that decide what's appropriate, we're the board, so.
I mean, even if there's a cost to it, I mean, I think it'd be nice to see if we can find another option.
Yeah, even if it's gonna cost a little bit more.
Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't missing something. Notes, I just wanted to start off by saying, it was a happy Mother's Day last weekend, so happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. Couple things that have been happening in the district. One, the junior high roof project has started. So if you notice coming in, there would look like some kind of makeshift railings on the one side of the senior high roof, and that's been going really well. They walked us through. There's a long conversation as far as what time we should do it with the smell and the sound and pulling off the rock and only doing it during a certain time of day. You really can't, and I don't want to jinx us, so knock on wood, but you can't really smell anything or hear anything. I mean, the process has been very quiet, and when you walk outside and walk past it, it's a very strong rubber smell, but interior, we haven't heard anything. There hasn't been any complaints, so that's been nice. So they've started that roof project here.
And that strong rubber smell is only after 3 o'clock.
Yep.
What's their projected done date?
They said it'd all be dependent upon the weather,
Right.
but it would be
I mean,
done.
By school?
What's that?
Definitely by school.
Yeah, by
It
school.
has to be done before school
Yep.
starts.
So they had said anywhere late July into August kind of range depending on the weather. Been doing the superintendent search, obviously, as you guys are aware of, which that'll be discussed tonight. Festival of the Nations going on over at the elementary. The elementary crew, fourth graders, did a nice job with Festival of the Nations. And then state solo ensemble this past weekend, which my daughter was a part of, happened in Eau Claire. So congratulations all those kiddos that performed at that. Some upcoming things. This is just kind of the crazy time of year, the busy time of year of stuff going on. Tonight, Pop's concert, and I'll zip through this real quick. I'll eliminate some of it. Pop's concert tonight. We've got track and field day at the elementary next week, Wednesday, during the day. Baccalaureate and awards on Thursday the 19th, starting at 7, and then graduation on the 20th, starting at 7 o'clock as well. The following Friday, the 27th, is kindergarten graduation. So just wanted to mention those couple things, and I know we got kind of a short timeline tonight, so that's all I'll mention.
Sounds good, Josh, thank you. All right, then the next item of business is contemplated closed session in accordance to WSS 19.85. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Paragraph 1C, considering employment compensation or performance data of any public employees over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Tonight, the board will discuss performance of employees. I'm going to pull the board. Nettie?
Yes.
Skip?
Yep.
Matt? Yep. Myself, yes. Christine?
Yep.
We are in closed session. We're back in open session. I'll entertain a motion for D, approval of the 22-23 district administrator hire.
I move to approve.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve our district administrator hire, Chris Peterson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Next item of business is item H, approval of the 22-23 teacher contracts. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 22-23 teacher contracts.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the teacher contracts. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next item of business is approval of the 22-23 administrative staff contracts.
I move to approve the 22-23 administrative staff contract.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the staff contracts. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. The next item of business is future agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to put on a future agenda item?
Need to come back to Sora.
Sora.
Sora? Did we want to talk about compensation again?
Weren't we sending that to the committee to talk about the
Yeah.
performance improvement plan? Had the committee, who defines that?
The teacher compensation,
The
they'll go to
performance.
they would propose something to you
Yeah.
guys. Ultimately, whatever they propose, you can have them add it to it if you wanted
Yeah.
that added at the time.
So back to them with that.
So do you want them to meet prior to the June meeting?
What are we talking about again? I'm
The
sorry.
teacher
guys.
compensation, I think, isn't that what you guys are
Yeah,
asking?
what are
Well,
we talking about?
I mean,
Is that what you were
No,
asking?
no, I don't.
I
think
thought
we
we
were
were
talking
gonna-
about anything.
Look further at the performance improvement plans and really, what does that look like?
But not like tomorrow.
Right.
How do we merit,
Yeah.
So that's down the
That's-
line somewhere.
Right,
Yeah.
not next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think that has to be
Gotcha.
between.
All
now
right,
and
then I
June.
will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. We are adjourned.